What's up, everyone? This is Crowfall here, a massively MMORPG that is crowd-funded. They had a Kickstarter campaign back in 2015, and it crushed through that. It has a ton of unique ideas. So we're on the crowfall.com website, and just looking at the frequently asked questions, they're showing you different aspects of the game. For people that have not followed this game, you need to be following Crowfall. Crowfall is going to be coming into a beta at the end of this year, so it's a tentative launch, probably 2017 early. No one officially knows the launch date yet. It's still kind of up in the air, but they are looking for a beta in the end of 2016. And so the thing that separates Crowfall from all the other games out there, it is an MMORPG, but has a destroyed world. It's got a combination of kind of like a MOBA and an MMORPG. So the maps that you play on are massively big. They're actual real worlds, like continents and things like that you would see in a typical MMORPG. But the world only has a set lifespan. That world maybe only lives for 1 month, maybe only lives for 4 months, maybe only lives for 8 months, or it potentially dies when the wind conditions are met. So there's going to be wind conditions in the maps. So go conquer, 10 siege towers, or go kill this Omega beast thing out there, or the first faction that gets 500,000 kills, things like that. And each one of these worlds are going to be their own unique world. They're going to have their own specific rule set. So sometimes you could go into a match and say you want to play on, we'll just say these are servers. So we'll say like the US server, just for example. So you play on US server, and that map, the rules there are there's no mages, no mage allowed. Like that's the rule. And then you go over to like the EU server, and the EU server is like no rangers allowed. And there's going to be different variations to these maps. Of course, those are just general ideas, but there's also possibilities of like, one life and then you're kicked out of the entire world. So a complete kind of like Hunger Games style, a one life to live. And then there's also things where, potentially you drop your items. The game is heavily PvP focused, but there is tons of PvE elements as well. There's not going to be instance. There's going to be tons of mobs and things out there in the world to go kill and farm and harvest. You're going to be doing a lot of crafting, a lot of bartering and trading, and that's the big thing that drew me to this game was the economy. I dreamt of these kind of systems. Like literally, I was thinking at night, what kind of crafting system would be the best crafting system to have? And we'll go through here through their economy section here, and the crafting system is, in my dreams, was about a system where you can craft anything. Basically, anyone can craft anything, but the more you actually craft and level up that proficiency, you're actually going to go and get better at it. So you start off, you're able to craft a sword, but everyone at level 1 can craft a sword, but they're going to fail, 99% of the time because they suck at crafting a sword. They have no proficiency at it. As they craft materials and components of that sword and craft that sword over and over again, they're going to actually train passively their skills, or also, actively train their skills. So as progression goes on, you become a better blacksmith in the sense, and now you're going to be able to craft that sword maybe 75% of the time. And as you get even better at it and more success, you're going to be able to craft it 50% of the time, and et cetera, going up further and further into eventually being always able to craft that said weapon or armor. That is the system that I dreamt of. Of course, there's going to be RNG involved in it because, if you have a 1% chance to craft it at level 1, someone's going to be able to craft it and be like the luckiest player on the planet and have that weapon. So that is the system that I dreamt of, and it's in here. This exact system is here. Like, I literally went to sleep and I'm like, okay, I'm going to go read up about the crafting in Crowfall, and the next day I'm like, holy shit, I dreamt about this system. Like, they have this system here, and then it's also it seems like we haven't had an actual look at the system in in gameplay, but it looks like that not only will you have that kind of system of proficiency really matters and that you need to focus on one type of thing, but that one sword you put in different materials. So you're making an iron sword. You put in materials, and you can also craft rarity levels. So like if you're a really expert proficiency at blacksmithing, you craft your iron sword, and you could craft it all the way up to like this mythic sword. The stats are just outrageously insane because you are a high proficient crafter and you got insanely lucky. So there's going to be a small chance, from what I understand, to craft these insanely good weapons once you raise up your proficiency. Those things are really cool. So obviously you're going to have your basic sword. You're going to craft the basic one. Then there's also going to be like tiers versions. Like tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, tier 4, tier 5. Just different types of grades and levels. So they go on to talk about crafting here. And I don't want to bore you to death. But that's the general idea that I'm getting out of the system. The one thing that it really concerns me, though, is they say here that there's not really going to be a NPC vendor. There's not really going to be coins necessarily. Like there's not going to be like a gold currency that's going to be transferred around in game. So I don't know if they're actually going with that direction yet, because this was written up a little while ago. But that's going to be very, very interesting. So that means everything's going to be barter based. So if you're trying to make a sword and you need iron or copper or whatever you need, you're going to have to trade like chickens for iron. And you're going to be like, hey, I need chickens for iron. And the dude's like, no, I want bananas, man. And you're like, fuck, I don't got bananas. So you have to go trade someone else your chicken for the bananas, to then trade the bananas for the iron that you need to craft. Like, it's going to be a very interesting system if they do it all barter where there's no base currency. There's also going to be the fact that eventually I think somebody, the community in general, will make a base currency, because they do have a VIP similar to what Apex is in ArcAge. They have VIP time, which is your premium status in the game, and that is sellable and tradable, so that already has a monetary value of around $15. Currently on the black market, it's only worth around $3 or $4, because they gave around a ton of VIP tickets to Kickstarter backers. So there's a lot of VIP around, and people have more than enough VIP right now. So the actual value is really, 3 or 4, and that's just a free market happening right there. It's really, really fun and cool to see. So I think that eventually everything will be kind of like based around the credits and the cash shop of how much like the VIP is. That could be a very specific item that everyone really wants, is to be the the premium status, to have that VIP status. So definitely take a look. The link is down below. Crowfall is coming soon. We will be having some gameplay footage very, very soon for you of combat. This is an early alpha. I am so excited to bring you Crowfall and to really dive deep into this game. This is the game that I think is going to be simply amazing. Like, I cannot wait. Like, I am just blown away by all the FAQ stuff here, all the information about it. The economy is the main selling point for me. This is going to bring back, there's no auction house here. So this is going to bring back direct player-to-player trading. You're also having the ability to run your own shops, and your ability to run your own shops in other players' kingdoms. So everyone has a kingdom as well. So you can put, if you go to the very fancy kingdom that's got spent thousands upon thousands of dollars or tons and tons of time and effort in building this kingdom, you're going to be able to rent out a stall and have a shop there. That shop will generate you money, or whatever is the currency. I mean, there has to be some kind of money, actually, now that I think about it, because they say there's going to be player shops like that. So there has to be some kind of basic currency that people will buy and sell. It's very interesting. So that shop is going to be able to sell things, and you're going to be able to generate money or currency or whatever it is. And you're going to be able to build up your reputation, because you're not just going to go onto an auction house and be like, oh, I need iron. So you go to auction house, type it up, iron. No, you're actually going to have to look and physically talk to people and trade and barter for iron, or go mine it yourself. So this is something that I absolutely love. This brings me back in memories of Phantasy Star Universe, where they did sort of have an auction-like system. Everyone had player housing, and in your housing you sold things. You had a store. So the system was you typed in an item, and then that item came up in a list of all these stores that had that item for sale. You did not know which item or which store had that item for the cheapest price. you physically had to go into each store, look at their inventory, and see what they were selling, see how much the price was, and physically go in there, and you could either barter with the person if he was in there, or you would just hop to the next store. It took a little bit of time, but it was an extremely rewarding system because you could find deals like crazy, and if you were very smart about it, you would advertise on forums and social media type channels and advertise in game and tell people about your shop, and people would go and know you. And so I was one of the most despised players in that game because I cornered a market on items that upgraded your materials. Are called grinders, and so I cornered the grinder market, and I was the grinder guy in Phantasy Star Universe, and it was a cool thing. Everyone knew me. A lot of people hated me. Some people loved me because I was the one supplying everyone the grinders to upgrade your gear. But most people hated me because they're like, fuck that bastard. He's got all the grinders. He's overpriced. Is blah blah blah. Everyone knew me. It was a really cool and great thing, great feeling. So that is Crowfall's economy in a nutshell. There's still a lot of things up in the works because again, we don't know what it's going to look like in actuality. They have a lot of concepts here, and things can change in the development process. So like I said, they did post something on here about kind of like no vendors or no coins, where you can't sell things to a vendor. But there has to be some kind of currency, because now that I think about the player stores, that they definitely have said player stores are going to be a huge thing in this game. There has to be some kind of currency that the player store will get, because you can't just go up and be like barter with an NPC player store and be like, hey, I got chickens, I want your iron. Okay, like that seems just way too complicated. So there's going to have to be some basic coin currency in this game, which is fine, perfectly fine by me. Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. If you have any questions about Crowfall, post them down below. I'll try and answer them as best I can. Again, we're going to have some gameplay footage very soon, and I am excited to get in there and show you this game firsthand. Take a look around at the crowfall.com website, and yeah, follow them, sign up for their newsletter. Thanks for watching, guys. Hit that like button.